The San Francisco 49ers over the weekend lost a valuable member of their organization. Ben Peterson is headed from the NFL and the Niners to the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA. He served as the 49ers head of health and player performance, and he will now be the Atlanta Hawks' new VP of player health and performance. And he's really traveled a very fascinating path. Prior to the Niners, he worked in the NHL. He goes to the NFL. Now he's going to the NBA. All he has to do is go to the Major League Baseball ranks, and he'll be able to cross off the 4 major sports in America. Maybe he'll go to the MLS after that. I know what many of you are thinking, right? Chase, this doesn't matter. The 49ers are always hurt. But keep in mind that the 49ers have played in 4 NFC title games in 5 years, 3 straight NFC championship games, and 2 Super Bowls. That's a lot of football where you're putting a lot of wear and tear on your body. You're playing deep into the year with a lot of short off seasons. And I'd actually make the argument that the Niners have been able to sustain a lot of success because they've been able to stay relatively healthy with a shorter offseason. They're also a very physical and big football team. And a lot of that credit can be given to the strength and conditioning program led by Peterson. Anytime you lose somebody in this position, I do think that it is somewhat of a big deal. You want as much continuity with your training staff that you can get. Because if you're always having changes there are changes in stretching routines, off-season programs, in-season programs, how you lift, what types of workouts you are doing. Because when it comes down to strength and conditioning, everybody has a different philosophy. And if that philosophy is changing all the time, and there are constant changes with your training staff, the lack of continuity there can lead to a lot of different messages, which then can lead to a lot of different injury concerns and injury patterns. So this is going to be a big hire for this Niners organization. As for who they'll hire and who they'll replace Ben Peterson with, David Lombardi with some insight here that Dustin Little is the head trainer. Dustin Perry is the head strength coach. Both reported to Peterson. The 49ers can simply promote from within, or they can hire another outside guy to keep the departments working cohesively. That's what they did with Peterson back several years ago. Consider that Peterson came from the NHL, going to the NBA, so his role doesn't necessarily have to be filled by a football person. Does this concern you? Let's hear from you down in the comment section once again. Treat it here on YouTube like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line. That's the point. Your voice is to be heard. Seek for concerned and for no biggie. Join that conversation. All right. We round up the show with this. Why is Brock Purdy the guy? According to first team All-Pro from 2023 and Brock Purdy's tight end mate, George Kittle, he looks like the guy. Here's what Kittle had to say from Tight End University, which he held in Nashville the other day and for a couple of days last week. He looks like the guy, which is really nice. He's in the building every day and is the same guy every single day. He's consistent. He's incredibly competitive. It's fun seeing him yell at guys when they don't hit their route depth or have the wrong landmark. That last line reminds me of why I think Kyle Shanahan partially loves Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan is so specific. So if his quarterback is yelling at guys for not hitting their route depth or having the wrong landmark, Brock Purdy's on it. And that's partially why I think Kyle Shanahan really likes Purdy, because the attention to detail is paramount in football. It takes all 11 guys to do their job on any given play. And on top of that, the buzz from the spring from people who attended the OTA practices and the mandatory minicamp practices is that noticeably Brock Purdy is more confident. He's taken on this leadership role where he's a lot vocal and he has a lot of swagger. He's directing everybody, and this is Brock Purdy's team. He's really taken this opportunity by the neck, grabbing it by the neck, I should say, and his face, his voice, his presence, it's heard, it's felt, it's seen. And why I think that Brock Purdy can have another big year, couple of reasons here why I think he can once again break out in 2024 and put together a really good season. Finally has a full offseason to practice and prepare. And you think about what's happened so far in his career as he enters year 3. Year 1, he didn't get a lot of reps in practices or in the preseason. In preseason, he was coming in garbage time or at the end of games. He was the third-string quarterback behind Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. And then he comes in for Jimmy G in 2022, plays excellent down the stretch, goes in to the NFC Championship game playing good football, learning a lot in those 2 playoff games against Seattle and Dallas, and then he hurts his elbow. So in year 2, he was rehabbing his elbow injury throughout the entire offseason. He was ready for day 1 of training camp, but didn't get some of that necessary on-field work, whether it be organized team activities, mandatory minicamp, or being able to just work out with his teammates until training camp. And in any occupation, when you have more time, reps, and experience, what does that normally equal? Better results, better understanding. When the NFL game is really moving quickly, when you're a young player, with those reps, with that experience, and with more time, things slow down. You can process a little bit easier, and you become a little bit more calm. And Brock Purdy is also going to have another season in Kyle Shanahan's offense. And it's another season with continuity. A loaded supporting cast around him. Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. George Kittle at tight end. Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver. And some people will make the argument with more tape, defenses and defensive coordinators have more time, Chase, to figure out Brock Purdy. Let me counter that by saying more reps, more games, a full off season, more comfort for Brock Purdy. More growth, more development. And what always plays at the NFL level is what makes Purdy elite, in my opinion. And these are traits that some of the great quarterbacks in this league have had. Timing, touch, accuracy, anticipation, processing. And then let me leave you with this. Brock Purdy is battle-tested. He has played in tough playoff games in which he's had to face a lot of adversity. He's had to come back. And that, at the end of the day, makes you better. Purdy, up to this point, through a season and a half of starting, is 17-4. He's 4-2 in the playoffs, 4-1 if you take away that Eagles NFC title game in which he got hurt early. He's thrown 44 touchdowns to 15 picks in the regular season. Putting up those numbers, that makes you confident. What does more confidence lead to? Whether you're holding your job that you're doing right now or me on air at Chat Sports, it leads to better play. It leads to better performance and better results. That's why I think that Purdy can be even better in 2024 than he was in 2023, or at least duplicate those numbers. That's what I think. What do you think? Will Purdy be better or worse this year? B for better, W for worse. Let's kick the Cowboys Report's ass as far as picking up new subscribers. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that sub button.